Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we're going to be diving into a viewer submitted VOD review from Mini Hulk. Going to be playing some Rampage jungle and taking a look at it. It's under my webcam. It's this bottom row right here. So Mini Hulk is right here. We have Titan's Crest with a Vitality Bead going into jungle with some wards. Let's go ahead and dive into it and give our thoughts. And I had the replay mode moving a little bit forward. So he runs over. We're starting a little bit forward and places a ward in the enemy jungle. Now, I don't hate that. I think that's good. I think there's a couple ways that I think early warding is good. Going for a deep ward like that's going to give you information on whether they start red and move over to 5. I'll sometimes put a ward just close to mid so I can cover mid, which kind of covers one of my jungle entrances as well, which is like a pretty nice thing to do. Swap into the sentry, so we got that early back, swap into sentry, and then we're going to be moving over to red side. I'm gonna be using obviously the replay system, so I could hide like the timeline and stuff, but I like to keep it up so I can control the gameplay with it, and we can take a look at the map and rotate around and stuff like that so we can see different things. So starting off on the red side, all very standard, right? All very standard. We might even speed this up a little bit. Never thought that I could do something like this with the VOD review. Hell yeah, dude. Going ahead and watch this go down. All right. Now, actually, for the sake of, who's the enemy jungler? The enemy jungler is Chimera, and Chimera is most likely on their blue side, I guess, because we don't see him on the ward. I am in, I wonder, let's see, if I go to drone, and we can see Chimera went, I guess they are about, they either pass over the ward and I missed it, or they're about to hit the off lane. Okay, so interesting. I know this is going to be a little bit weird. I'm still getting used to this replay system. So Chimera's over, did have a red start, and is now in the off lane. So we're getting our full 3 camp clear, which gives us our level 3. The only thing I could say here is, like, make sure you're hitting the big one so that way you're cleaving, and then you can clear the camp a little bit faster. I think you were doing that fine, but maybe you might have put a little bit more autos. And don't be afraid to smite this too if you're trying to speed up your clear. Sometimes I'll smite this one, but we'll see. So we have Q, E, and right mouse button for our abilities. I love this sweeper. This is a perfect sweeper for getting into the lane. And it looks like, nice, they were able to force a flash, or, oh wait, that was your teammate. Your teammate got a flash force on him, but hey, you can grief his health bar here, which I like, which leads to invade, actually. Oh, no way, dude. Oh, no way. Ooh, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Nice, you forced the flash. Not bad. I literally don't hate it. That's actually not a bad situation at all. And then you're kind of opened up to blue side jungle now. So going for this is a really good invade. Going for this is good invade. The enemy Chimera, we can see, okay, so they ward you out, but you should be fine. The enemy Chimera is over on the offlane, and you have some information about that. So you should be good to take this. Nice. You take that, and you can kind of work your way out. This is good. Continuing the invade, I think, is really good as well. I'd be a little careful with that right mouse button there, because you haven't had vision on Kai for like a little bit now, and you might end up needing that. So I'd be a little careful with that right mouse button whenever you're going for this deep invade, because this is a deep invade. You can't really get any deeper in their jungle. And this sweep, I guess, oh, okay, you're knocking out the sword. I forgot about this one. I was like, this sweep is a little interesting to me, but you knock out the ward. I almost would have rather seen you avoid the ward on purpose so you could continue and go for this gank. Ooh, nice try, not bad. I think I would have preferred watching you avoid the ward, walk around it, and then you could have gotten the gank off or the 3 camp for free, because they wouldn't have known that you were there potentially. But we're taking our first buy. You're gonna grab your brimstone. We'll double check that. Nice and easy. And we head to your blue side. So from here, looking at the clock, I would be either considering going pretty straight to river buffs, or I would consider farming your blue side. And it's it's up to you what exactly you want to do, but something to consider, right? Sometimes you want to help out with those river buffs a little bit more than not, depending on how your lane is going. And actually, let's go ahead and take a look at it, because you have a Countess on your team, if I can see that correctly. So let's take a look at Countess on your team at 27 farm versus their mid laner at 36 farm. It might have been pretty nice to help out the river buff, just to make sure they're staying in the game. I don't think they're too terribly far behind for Countess versus Gideon, but it could be nice And you're getting over here. It's just a little late, and you're on like the safe side. So like this is like the side that she can get easily, but it doesn't look like she's going for it anyway. So if a river buff's there, you take it, right? That's how we go. So all right, let's take a look. Ooh, you hear him here. Okay, this is also a really aggressive play. I don't hate it, but it is a little... Okay, I'm missing the rock. That's going to be a big one. I don't hate it, but it's a bit of an aggressive play because then you have no out, right? Like, you're going to have to flash here and dead. Okay, so I think this is like a perfect example of patience, right? Like, you heard him over the wall, and that's cool, but just walk around, right? Like walk around and fight him and feel out the fight, you know, put yourself in between, or put him in between the camps and you. So constantly be rotating where he's fighting the camps and fighting you. And then you can put yourself in a position where you feel out the fight, you know, you can kind of feel out whether or not you're winning the fight, looking at his items. And then you can say, you know what, this isn't working, and you bail out over the wall. But using your jump in first puts you in a position where you really don't have an outside of your flash, and then by the time you like got to this corner, you weren't able to clear the wall to flash. So let's take a look at that again if we can. This replay system is a little weird. I gotta find us. Where are we? Okay, I need to go back further. All right, so he jumps in. Where are we? Oh, replay system. Replay system needs better ways to see what's going on. All right, we'll speed this up again. So again, when you're coming up here and you hear him, because I'm pretty sure that's what happens, you hear him, just walk around, right? You walk around, you start fighting, you fill out the fight. If good, stay. If not good, bail. And also I think missing the rock was a big part of that too, which obviously I'm not going to harp on too much because I think, you know, hitting that rock would be pretty important. But now you see what I mean, how you have like no out, like you could have turned and flashed a little bit earlier, sure, but you really just have no way to get out. So bit of a rough death there. Definitely could have been avoided, but I also just think the invade could be a little bit more calculated. So all right, we'll speed up to your alivaging. All right, you're alive. Let me find you now. All right, we respawn, go blue side. So yeah, I mean, because we really just waste some time there, right? Didn't really get anything out of that life. Chimera's on the invade, so at least he doesn't get too much. You just clean this up. All right, let's take a look at the state of farm. 32 to 23. I mean, you're ahead of him. You're doing fine. I think you just gave up a free kill, which is all like not the worst thing in the world, right? Not the worst thing in the world. All right, you're gonna rotate over to your. Ooh, okay, good mid. I was gonna say, don't always just farm to farm to farm, right? Not a bad stun. A little bit far. I think you actually could have got a little bit closer, but not bad. You can track out that that flash, and now you're in a position where you can hang out for mid, or you can farm. Looking at your duo lane, you do need to keep progressing yourself forward though, so you can't always be in duo lane. You can't always be in lane, but you also want to make sure that you're ganking a good amount. So far, I think the ratio of ganks has been okay. You've showed up a couple times. Move yourself to level 5, nice. Okay, so we're kind of just bailing on these river buffs here, which I think is a little okay. The Countess has like a huge wave built up, and she's going to gank, so it could be nice if she gets a successful gank off, but it looks like that's already like a dead play. And then the Gideon is literally roaming across too now, which this is not really your problem, to be honest. Like, you're just in farm mode. I think the Countess is just going to feed here. Yeah, I think the Countess is just dead there. So interesting plays, but you're just doing your thing, right? Like, as the Chimera gets a successful gank off, that sucks because it influences a lot of the match, but you're also just getting farm ahead. So we'll have to do something with that at some point. I like this sweep. You get a free ward kill instantly, which is always great value. And I know you're there, but you don't really have a lot going on. So probably like a gank on mid, covering mid. Yeah, I just feel like the Countess is losing so much farm. 41 to 68. She's roaming, but she's like not really like you know, shoving out her wave first. So I like that you cover the farm. It's free experience for you. You know, it's got to get covered at some point, and then you can head towards your blue side. think you get level 6 and you try to make some plays with it. That's where we're at. We want to make some early impact, early ultimate plays. Don't want to hold on to it too long. There's the ultimate. And what can we find? Feel like you may just do a full jungle rotation here, which is okay. But challenge your ratio of gank to farming a little bit. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying I want that to be a constantly recurring thought when you play. You know, am I farming too much? Am I ganking too little? Vice versa. All right. So we're getting you moving over to the duo lane, which I'm very happy about because, you know, duo lane's really important. And we've only been there once a little bit early on. Looks like team's doing okay though. This is not terrible. Yeah, you could use that to clean up the kill. Okay. Okay, if I would have been a little bit more critical, but it's like you got to try it out, right? You got to try it out, and giving that distance on the right click is good. Okay. I felt a little sus about that ult, but the ult leading to a kill is good because you want to use an early ult, right? Like you want to make sure that you're not just sitting on this ult. You can actually get something out of it. Nice. So we get a tower down. That's pretty big. That is pretty big for sure. All right, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I can't see your wild, so that's a little unfortunate. But you are making your way towards it. And you're either working on a Tainted, which I really hope you're working on a Tainted, or finishing the Fire Blossom. I think versus a Chimera, it's really, really easy to just rush the Tainted Guard because you're kind of building your armor up, but you're also just instantly like cucking him a little bit. Working on farm here is fine. I don't feel like there's anything too crazy that you got to be focused on. 63 to 46 on his side. So far, so good. I do think in general, I would like to see you focus river buffs a little bit more. It kind of seems like an afterthought to you. And I think like you're missing out on potential like big plays that can happen. Because the thing with river buff, like, see, even here, okay, cool. Okay, the thing with river buffs is that not only are you getting a river buff, but sometimes you're helping your teammate get a river buff, which not only helps them get the river buff, but it keeps them in lane longer, which means that they can win their lane because they can get more farm. Like, it's like, it turns into this like big systemic thing where it's like, it's not just getting a river buff. Sometimes it leads to getting a free kill. It leads to your laner being much more, you know, having much more agency in their lane. So I think like really focusing on river buffs at least a couple more times is probably a really big play. Okay, you built a couple of tunics, so I'm assuming you're going Tainted, which, oh no, wait, you finished the Fire Blossom. Okay, I think finishing the Fire Blossom is fine. I think that that's an okay play. I do think that versus a Chimera, I would probably always rush the Tainted because you just instantly start cutting down his potential for anti-healing. Like with anti-healing, like you just start, like you're just targeting and countering him. It actually looks like he's soloing the Fang, which takes a long time at like level 4 to 6. So I'd be interested to see if you go peek this because there could be a lot of potential. A big potential play here. We can't see the objective health, but now you're starting to see it. You have ultimate. You have wild. You do have wild as well. You have wild advantage over him. Oh, they got it. No, wait, you got it. Sorry. I'm watching orange side. Nice, perfect. So you dive in, you peek it, you run him down, which I like. I think the spectator mode might be bugged when it comes to crest. I'm not 100% sure, so I can't talk about your crest usage, I don't think. Nice flash. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Nice. Good follow-up. Lead straight into more jungle invade. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it doesn't show crest usage for whatever reason. So you probably turned on your crest there. If not, I'll just talk about it from like a very general standpoint. When you dive in, just turn it on, right? Like, especially when you're fighting a Kai. Really solid, really solid. Very solid. But it does look like, regardless of finishing the Fire Blossom versus the Tainted Guard, it's like, it's not that big of a deal, but I do think finishing the Tainted or like working on the Tainted is like a really good anti-Kai, right? It's good against Crunch, good against Kai. Kind of rush that down. All right, picking up a wave in the mid. I think it's cool. Maybe time to start looking at some mini primes. Yeah, maybe time to start looking at some mini primes. See what you think about it. 1,300 gold. You got some farm up. But I would like to say you're definitely in the driver's seat. So I want to make sure that you're not like overly going for farm, and you're like willing to be aggressive, like, you know what I mean, like showing in lanes and stuff for sure, like this. Even if you're just griefing his health bar a little bit, right? Your teammate roamed and got a kill, so you can just keep picking up this lane, which I think is great. Yeah, you can just pick up this farm. Yeah, I think this is all great because you, like, you know what I mean, like if you're trading roles with the Countess to let her be the ganker, that's fine because you want Countess to get fed. Again, I'm thinking I want to see a little bit more time in lane, or I want to see a little bit more focus on something that's going to push your game, because getting like one extra camp here, this is fine, right? Like this is acceptable in the degree that you are going to progress because you're getting farm, yes, but how does this play here push the game forward for you? How can this, you know, steepen the gap between how good your team is doing versus how good the enemy team is doing? It does, because it gets you stronger, but I think it's a marginal amount of strength and increase to like your game state, as opposed to maybe being a little bit more aggressive. So like showing in a lane with your ultimate, and helping get another kill, which could lead to another tower down, that's a big play. So like something like this, even though it doesn't quite work out for you, something like this, versus, you know, just sitting in your jungle. But you're doing it now, so this is good. And this tower's already down, so y'all are just kind of a little like doing very well, I suppose. And it's a close game because the enemy support has 4 kills, which is weird. I don't really, this breakdown of kills is really interesting. Yeah, okay, so my biggest thoughts in this section of the game is mini prime. You're dancing around it. It seems like you're not feeling overly confident like you can do it, or maybe you just are not highly valuing it enough. But I definitely think mini prime is a perfect objective to go for. And you can usually fit like 1 or 2 of them in depending on how the game is going. So don't shy away from doing a mini prime. If it's here, you can go for it. So like here, yeah, it definitely feels like you either don't value mini prime, and it may mean that you don't know what to do with it when you do get it, or it just in general you're not like feeling confident about going for it. But you should feel confident because y'all are doing well. All right, let's see what you picked up. You pick up the Tainted Guard, perfect. So right now we're Fire Blossom, Tainted Guard. Next thing you're gonna want to do is go Crystalline Cuirass, or which not really for their team comp, or Tainted Bastion, which I think Tainted Bastion's perfect. And actually their magic damage is Gideon and Steel, so I'm gonna say you don't even really need to rush the Bastion, but it's gonna give you mitigation, so it's fine. Yeah, it's good. I was considering there might be something better. Considering that there might be something better. All right, you're picking up this lane. I think that this is fine since your team is roaming a little bit more. So you're just kind of like picking up where they're leaving off, and that's fine. Again, I think this is going to lend myself to the same point I made earlier. Like, farming this camp is fine, but there's just so much more that you could be doing to push the game further in your favor. I think pre this Fangtooth, like you see how this Fangtooth is coming up right now? I think if you had a mini prime, you know, a minute ago or 30 seconds ago, then you could carry this mini prime into this fight. I think being over at this objective on time is super important, so make sure that you're doing that, which is like a, you know, minuscule thought. But in general, yeah, I think that you're being pretty conservative, which is okay, but maybe not the best play. Ult into a rock, nice. See how this breaks down. You get that, huge. You are huge. I think you're probably dead here. So it's a pretty big moment in trade for them, but you get the objective, so. I'm wondering, so it's really hard to VOD that because I don't know where the health of the objective was. I want to put a seed in here. If the objective health when the steel was rounding the corner was still high, bail on the objective and go fight with your team. If the objective health was like relatively low, like around 2 to 3k, you probably have to commit to it because otherwise you just run the risk of flipping it and losing. So it really just depends. So just keep that in mind. It's one of those things that I can't really review from here, but yeah, just keep that in mind. All right, you built the Lockshaw. Yeah, your build's fine. Your build's great. Looking at you, you're 224. 147 farm to the 89 on the Chimera. Yeah, you're crushing it this game. I think, like I said, I think what we're looking at here mostly for you, Mini Hulk, is I think that your macro decision making can actually be more aggressive, which will guarantee you more wins, because you're going to start, if you can take this VOD review and go forward thinking that you can do more with how strong you are, then you're going to find more windows of opportunity to push your game further in your favor faster. And what that's going to do is it's just going to speed up the timetable of everything a little bit more. Everything you do is going to be a little bit faster. It's going to be a little bit you know, more in your favor, and you're going to be able to, you know, this could have been your second mini prime that y'all could do something with. I do like this full rotation though. I do think this is pretty nice. Free pick on the Fang Mao, more or less. Y'all already have a lot of the tier 1s down, so this mini prime's not the most impactful thing in the world. But y'all could push down like a tier 2 with it. It's potential to push down like a tier 2. Y'all's how it went deep. This game's pretty opened up to y'all. I'm a little bit worried about that dual lane because we're just letting the Kira push it, so maybe a response there was pretty good. Grab river buff, sure. You do have an ultimate, and I'm not gonna lie, I think you're strong enough to fight them. Okay, rotating around. I actually think you probably could just brute force into them. I like that you're just breaking the ward. Get that out of the way. Your ability max priority is good. I didn't think I needed to say that, but since I saw it, I'll throw that out there. I don't know if this tower was savable, but I think that maybe you could have saved it. I'm not sure because I can't see the health of it. But I guess the thought there is that, like, honestly, if you could have gone up to that tower and saved it, I think it would have been worth it. Because now, like, having tier 1s up makes it really hard for the enemy team to macro the map. All right, your team is just doing well, so you're kind of in a luxurious position where what I think you should do is be splitting or invading. Like, you know what I mean? Take from them. Don't let them have. If your team's doing well, you know, take more, you know? All right, let's take a look. Yeah, this is good. I mean, like I said, take from them. Good. All right. Looking at the objectives, we need to get a buy-in. Yeah, we need to get a buy-in because you got a Fangtooth coming up. Do this camp, go back. That's what I'm thinking time-wise. I want to see if you're on the same page as me. Because you got Fangtooth coming up. Nice. All right, let's see. What do we pick up here? We finished the Bastion, and honestly... All right, so we're going back to our red side jungle. Feng Mao's a little bit deep here. Looks like your team was able to get a couple kills in your absence, so your team's been holding it down pretty well, which definitely was, like, you know, partially enabled by you in the early game. You know, now that you've had your carries able to get strong. Oh, it's Eps on carry, and then your Countess has been able to roam. So you get to kind of just play like tank fundamentals this game, which is like picking up the off lane. But yeah, just make sure you're macroing and like giving them the ability to make aggressive plays. You know, you can ping out this and make sure that they're there, ping out the other objective, make sure that they go there every now and then. Like, honestly, y'all are so strong. I really do think, and I wonder how accurate this kill count is, to be honest, because it doesn't feel like it's that accurate. But maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe they are getting this many kills. It feels like they're not, but maybe they are. I feel like y'all are actually strong enough that y'all could probably start dancing and going for Prime. If y'all win for Prime here, I wouldn't hate that play, especially because the Gideon just showed in the duo lane. Yeah, I think this is a fine play. All right. Again, this is always hard to talk about because I can't see the health. Because it's hard to know when you should commit and when you should peel off. But you kind of just got to feel it out. And 90% of the time, junglers are going to commit. Like we're going to commit because we're the ones that are committing our health bar to it as well. So. All right. Nice. Nice. I love the focus on the Gideon. I hope that you've turned on your crest. I'm assuming you have by now. Who are we running down here? Running down the Kira? You played this fight perfectly. And then they surrendered. You played that fight perfectly. That was weird. It didn't even like, I don't know, that's the way that it ended. Really, really bizarre and weird. Okay, so solid game. Let's go ahead and give a little bit of a recap. I think versus someone like Crunch and Chimera, rushing a Tainted Guard could actually end up being a little bit more of a benefit, although you will do more damage if you have the Fire Blossom. So I don't really think either one is that much better. I think if you think that the enemy person is getting ahead, like say the Chimera got a couple kills in the early game, you could rush it just to kind of slow him down some. Otherwise, progress yourself and go for Fire Blossom, right? I think that's totally fine. You're playing the character really well, in my opinion. You're building well. It seems like you have good knowledge of the game. Don't be afraid to push your macro slightly more aggressively. That's the takeaway from this one. Take your macro and be a little bit more aggressive with it. With your invade, save your out. You got to have an out. Anytime you're going deep somewhere, you have to have a way to get out. So make sure you think about that as well. But push your macro a little bit more aggressively. I think that you can actually close out and stomp games a little bit more. Like you will find your snowballing factor as a player if you can push your macro a little bit more aggressively, and then just make sure you have an out for your invades. Those are like the only two takeaways I have. I think you played really well, and I think that yeah, you can actually slightly improve, which like this little adjustment I think is gonna make a pretty big difference. So let me know what you think, Mini Hulk. So thank you so much for supporting this gameplay. Friends, drop a like on the video, subscribe for future Predecessor content. We post videos here almost every single day talking about competitive, focusing on competitive, talking about the game, the future of the game, etc., etc. As always, be sure to comment on it, tell somebody you love them, and I'll see you in the next video.